or vegan pesto, like you have to pay a premium, or but that's not applicable to raw fooders. So I changed the bullet to something else, like you get easily bored eating smoothies and salads all day, whatever. So the point is that you can have two different sets of offers, and one where it's much more relevant to boutique high-end residential building trades. And talk, make things as specific as you can. That you could even change the name of the product if we have the vegan master program and the vegetarian master program.
Sure.
So that's one thing I would encourage you to do, because now when they're like, well, should I work with John or someone else? How many other people have coaching tools for boutique high-end residential building trades?
Right. And yeah, I could even throw in like sustainable minded, and it would just be like zing.
Right.
Because that's what's all of the East Bay building trades all have a toe in LEED certified green sustainable. So
right.
By giving.
Why don't you guys bring those desserts out here, and we can all share them without having to get out.
What dessert?
I'm half with the idea that I hope you don't bring them over.
That's exciting. That's something I can do. Like I can split out and speak to the different people and create, in a sense, a different program.
He's the first one to grab it.
I have to see what it is.
Sorry, John.
Oh, I'm in trouble.
No, that's true. And I have other niches of people that would be like, oh yeah, this is a separate, and I know that if I spoke to them discreetly, they would hear it more effectively.
Right.
Yeah,
there you go. So, does that apply to anyone might you have one that's for rock climbers and then re-language it for other types of athletes, so that you could have.
I'm still working on that
100%.
because rock climbing is so ultra specific. I've been really successful in the rock climbers that I've worked with, but I haven't figured out how to attract them without physically being in front of them. Like I'm good, like my workshops are pretty good, but I haven't quite figured out how to bring them into the videos that I'm selling versus like workshops or one-on-one training.
Here's a little homework assignment for those of you that have clients already. Ask them why they chose your program instead of an alternative they might have been considering. That's, I guess, mainly Sean and John, because when that feedback that you get from them will help you answer that question to future prospects. So let's say, Sean, I was one of your clients, and I said, well, yeah, I was considering 2 other fitness trainers, but, they only did rock climbing in the gym. They never did real rock climbing like you. Right? So, now maybe you'll say in your sales copy, well, sure, there's a lot of fitness trainers that say they can teach you rock climbing, but, if you ask them point blank, only a tiny fraction have ever climbed real rocks in the outdoors.
Sure.
And I've been doing that for X years, so I guess we're on the topic of how to sort of disqualify or discredit your competition. Maybe disqualify is a more politically correct word, because you're showing why they're less of a good fit, right? So, I'm trying to think how I've done that for some of my clients. Let's see. Okay. Well, okay, I do it. All right, I'll tell you how I do it currently. So, there's really only one program that competes with us directly, pretty directly. And so, it's not a bad program, it's a good program. In some ways, maybe it's better. But I explain how it's different enough so that I differentiate ours from theirs. So it's clear that if you want that, then that's better for you. But if you want this, then this is better for you. So what I do is I say, you might be wondering how this compares to the eCornell Plant-Based Nutrition Certificate Program. Okay, so first of all, that program focuses on a lot about the environmental benefits. The environmental benefits of eating this way, and we don't talk about that at all. We talk strictly about health. And we don't talk about, animal rights or anything either. The other thing is we teach you practical strategies for saving time in the kitchen, saving money on health food and organic produce, eating well when you're traveling, overcoming the social challenges of eating differently, and the other program doesn't do that. Our program never expires. You have access to the lessons forever. Theirs, you have a finite amount of time and to read and take the exams, and then you lose access to it. Ours, you can download the recordings. Theirs, you can't. So some of these do sound like obvious benefits to ours. And theirs is $1,200, and ours is a fraction of that. So that's how I differentiate. But I don't even if it wasn't for the money, even if they didn't take away your access to the program, I can say, theirs is mainly about, the effect on the environment and animals, right, of how you eat. And ours is all about staying healthy, how to combine meals to absorb more nutrition. We give you recipes that use those combinations, and we teach you, strategies for being happier and having an easier, stress-free life. Saving money, saving time, overcoming social challenges, and eating well when you're traveling. The practical things that they don't teach. So even if it wasn't for the money or the fact that they take your access away, it's still enough of a differentiation. So people might want to do that if they want to mainly learn about the environment and impact on animals.
Then they'll sign up for theirs.
Yeah.
So that's not yours.
Right, exactly. So
Those aren't customers you want. You're not giving them the right content, and they'll be asking you to produce content that you don't produce.
yeah, good point. In our new video we even say there's vegans are kind of they're liberal, they're kind of counterculture, they think there's a lot wrong with the system, right? Including, of course, the food agriculture system. So some of them are really appalled and offended that we charge money for the stream, right? Because they're anti-capitalistic. How can you charge other vegans to help them stay healthy? That's so anti-vegan,
Just you get hate mail about that.
What?
You get hate
No.
Yeah.
But and others I've had. So we now in our video we say a couple things to kind of disqualify people that aren't a good fit and let them know where we stand. And to attract the people, so it's like this. Let me go back to a really simple story. When
I'm just going to stop you and just say, you just nailed something that was really interesting to highlight, and that is, you qualify your customers.
Right.
You talked about differentiating
Right.
between you and your competition, but then you also qualify your customers, and the idea of saying actively,
Right.
by the way, if you are this,
Right, then this isn't for you. Then don't even, I do that. I'll give you some of the slides from my video in a minute. But I want to first just go back to a really simple story. Before I knew how to monetize this, and all I had was an email list, and I was just sending recipes. You remember the election when Ralph Nader was running against Al Gore and George W. Bush? And so I was one of these people that thought, look, if you live in a state like California or New York, you know they're going to go Democrat. Vote for Ralph Nader, but if you're in a state that's borderline, then vote for Al Gore. So I send my list, basically, of people that only sign up to be vegans, not to hear anything about political endorsements. I said, look, let's face it, we want abortion to stay legal, right? So if I'm pro-choice, I want to make sure that we don't end up with George W. Bush. So, if you're in a state where, it's borderline, please vote for Al Gore, but if you're not, please vote for Ralph Nader. And so what happened is, I got a lot of unsubscribed, people that weren't pro-choice, who didn't like my endorsement. And I got a lot of praise from people who are like, right on, I'm so psyched that you said that. I'm right there with you, So what happened? I disqualified the people that didn't like it, because I took a stand for something. And the people that liked it came closer to me. They felt more like we were allies. Now, so take it forward to the present. And I would never recommend doing that. I would never do that again. But
it was an example that it could be used strategically to get closer to some clients and feed out other ones that might not be so fitting to your work.
So here's how I use it now, right? So I don't want people that are like, how should I say this?
Nazis.
I want to make a point that, like, we're about health, and a lot of the reasons that I and other vegans and vegetarians, had problems or have problems is because, in our community we hear all about the benefits of eating a plant-based diet and little, if anything, about the risks and pitfalls, right? Our community is so afraid of discouraging potential vegans or vegetarians that, the potential pitfalls are rarely whispered, right? And so I explain, like, the key to thriving is to understand the pitfalls. So that's why we teach you about them. And I'm going to talk about them openly, and if that's not for you, then, that's fine. But, and then later on I say, if you cringe when schools charge tuition to hire the best experts to help you stay healthy for years to come, and keep hiring them to update the content when new research comes out, if you cringe money when schools do that, then this program is not for you. Or if you're looking for a magic bullet and you just want to pay for this program and not follow our recommendations, then just forget all about our program, because it's not a magic bullet that'll make you, instantly disease-proof, right? And I think there's one more. So, you get the idea. So I'm kind of taking a stand and saying, we're not gonna, unlike, other information you may find, ours is not colored by moral principles. We're going to give you the whole truth. And so, for most everyone here, you'd probably say, well, that's a positive. I would want that. But for some, and maybe there's some vegans that are like, oh no, are you going to, like, recommend fish oil, or are you going to, like something like that, but we don't need them. And I think what happens more is that the majority of people are like, oh, I didn't realize, or maybe, yeah, I kind of noticed, like, I'll tell them some of the myths, like, we're not going to, perpetuate myths like all you need to get vitamin D is 20 minutes a day in the sun, right? Or you can get enough B12 eating unwashed vegetables, and I kind of chuckle as I'm saying that. Like, these are the reasons why my friend Mitch, who's 55, was just diagnosed with osteoporosis. And then I quote him in his email that he sent to his friends, saying, well, I ate all this calcium, but it wasn't getting into my bones because I wasn't getting enough vitamin D, right? So I'm like, here's the proof. These are myths, and if you just listen to them, God help you. But so you get the idea. So yeah, I'm disqualifying people, saying if you cringe when schools charge money, if you're just looking for a magic bullet and you're not willing to follow our recommendations, if you if you don't want to hear the whole truth, right? That's not colored by moral principles, then this isn't for you.
It's also a nice little small hoop. So you got 3 small hoops there, because if they keep listening, so like let's say a little cognitive distance, they keep listening after hearing that, it's like, oh, I am one of those people that will participate in this product because I'm still listening, so I must be a yes to those things that you just mentioned. Otherwise, I would have turned it off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the video sales letter guy who taught me some of this stuff, he said that when you disqualify people, then they tend to want to prove that they're one of the ones that qualify, right?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Actually, an example he gave, which is kind of funny, is, so, not that anyone here has ever been on a porn site, but
Speak for yourself. Not yet.
Whoa,
But I've heard of this guy.
no, like you, right?
Thank you for the Thank you for the mediocre thought. Okay.
Right, except maybe Brian. So, but if you're on a porn site, right, there's ads for, like, there's women who want to fuck you right now, click here. And, if you click, it'll ask qualifying questions. Like, before we can let you have access to these women's profiles, we need to know, like, do you promise to use a condom? Yes or no? Are you over 18? Yes or no? Like, do you promise, if you see women on here that you know personally, not to, like, tell your friends about it, right? And you have to answer all these questions and say yes before you can have access. And so they found that by, making men qualify themselves, then they become more engaged and they want to qualify more to get access to the site.
It's a nice little yes ladder. It's great.
Right.
Right. So, but so you could do it each way. You can ask people to qualify them, or you could if you're doing like a video, and you don't want to have like survey questions or something. You can just say, this is here, this isn't for you if A, B, or C. You could say, look, for example, the rehabber, real estate guy could say, if you don't want to invest any sweat equity and you've just got $500,000 in the bank, you're just looking for a good investment, this isn't for you. Well, the guy that says, no, I only have $200 in the bank is like, well, this is for me, right? And he's, or the guy that's selling how to make 11% a year return on apartments can say, if you don't have any money of your own for a down payment, if you don't have at least 50 grand, this isn't for you, right? Because it's not. But if you just want passive income with no work for the rest of your life at 11%, this is for, then it's for you.
Well, son.
Any questions?
I got a track of land for you.
Well, I think for me, it's about breaking down all of the different content that I have in this offering that I have into different pieces so that I don't try to sell an $800 product just through a click. And so I do instead drive people to the right place, but also breaking it apart so that what they can do is they can do things like go through a yes letter and qualify, and go through different marketing funnels and go through and receive the product that their niche is looking for. Because I have that niche, but I also have other specific niches, and they want a different product.
John, you have something else with that I'm sure you're already looking at, but maybe not. And that is just, the way I'm hearing it is, so you create that yes ladder, then you have the opportunity, like you said, to break it down and sell it piece by piece.
Right.
And make it much more expensive that way. And that way you say, well, just so you know, here are all these lessons that you can buy from us.
Right.
You can buy the whole thing for half that much.
Right. That's good.
And then bang, all of a sudden an $800 sale comes through.
So it's maybe $297 per lesson, or $797 for all 5.
Yeah.
I just had a thought. Oh, splintering. So, okay, so we have 50 lessons, right? And up until about a year ago, you could either get on a list for free or enroll in our program, which either meant $167 minimum or $20 a month continuity for a year. And not everyone wants to get on the continuity, right? Getting a $20 a month charge. And not everyone wants to pay $167 when they haven't been able to try your product yet, like try any of your paid content. We had a few people probably say, could I just buy this one lesson, right? Or this one bonus by itself? We say, sorry, you have to enroll in the program. And those people probably never became our customers. Or most of them didn't. So Ryan Dice teaches this concept of splintering. And what it means is, he's like, Trevor, you've got 50 lessons. Why don't you just sell a few of them for $7 each, as standalone? Let people try your paid content. And if they think this is good value, right, then they're much more likely, according to him, I don't think it's true, he says they're 10 times more likely to buy your high-end program. That was based on his testing. Now, I'm in some internet marketing groups on Facebook, and some people are saying, well, we found that, people can go from 0 to 500 or whatever. It's not necessarily a deterrent if they didn't buy a cheap thing. But it certainly doesn't hurt to give them the option. Like, you can offer the expensive thing first. If they don't buy that, you can offer the cheap thing as a downsell. Right. Or you can start with the cheap thing that's, a fraction of your course.
Yeah, the upsell, downsell, sales funnel.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Most people would start with the cheap thing, and then as soon as they say yes, you give them the one-click upsell. But, if you get them on your email list, and let's say you have a launch, and you're like, for this week only you can buy the $797 thing, and then they don't buy, you can go back to them 2 weeks later. Hey, I was wondering if you'd like to get just this module, because this is the most popular one that people say that they get the most benefit from. And, in fact, in one success story, tell the success story of how someone made a lot of money with that one module, you know, and normally you'd have to buy the whole deal for $7.97, but you know, you can have this one for, you know, making a special 48-hour offer on this, you know, for $197 or something.
I can do this.
I see a lot of you standing. Are we approaching the end?
Lower
It's-
back.
Don't like sitting
Okay.
long periods of time.
Okay.
I want to keep doing this, but I also know that I have a night and then a day and then a night and a day.
Okay.
I need to take off. I've got a 6 a.m. client.
All right.
That's,
Yes. But I really enjoyed this, Trevor.
Yeah, thank you so much, brother.
Yes.
Thanks for coming over.
Good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
You biking or birding?
Any closing statements before I turn off the camera?
Yeah.
I think that, you know, worrying about whether you're going to offer a teleseminar or a webinar or an information product or membership site is not the most important question. The most important question is, what's the burning problem that, or frustration or pain that your prospect is experiencing that they're willing to pay money to solve? And once you know that, you're pointing the camera over here. Talk to them about the pain, aggravation, frustration, and costs that they're experiencing now, and talk to them about what their life's going to look like, the future projection of their life once they've solved it and they've experienced the improvement or transformation that you're going to provide. And then the actual vehicle to get there is just a small part.
Bravo.
Trevor, thank you very much for putting this together.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I really appreciate it.